In today's episode, I'm going to talk about places you can escape the USA and move to, and places that I visited that I would probably most definitely live in from my own experience. Welcome to the Wanderlust Woman Travel Podcast, hosted by Noah
and Vanessa.
We're a married couple who loves traveling all over the world and sharing our experiences with you,
whether it's good or bad.
So let's jump right into today's episode. So I guess the inspiration for my podcast is going to be multi-layered. Should I go into political stuff? I'm going to tiptoe. I'm just going to say, at this time in my life, living in the USA, like obviously it has its benefits. I don't want to make it seem like it's this like terrible place, but it feels like at the moment maybe the negatives are outweighing the positives for multiple reasons, and I'll get into those too as we discuss other places. So I think when people hear the American dream, they typically think about maybe 1950s America, maybe just getting back to, you like one person in the house can work one job and can like provide for the family, and you can have like a nice suburban home with like a 2-car garage, and the wife or the woman can maybe it's definitely a little bit conservative idea, or maybe a little bit like outdated, which I definitely think it is. But anyway, so when I say the new American dream, well, I think the new American dream is, and it's to leave the USA. It really is. The new American dream, as far as I'm concerned, is going to be to have the freedom. Which, yeah, that's what our country is all about, freedom. Like, all jokes, being a little like ironic, but also like truly, for me at least, is to have the freedom to make money kind of completely from your own like volition and your own freedom. So that could maybe be like a remote job that you feel like you have some flexibility with, or you're not like tied down to be in an office 5 days a week, or you can like create your own business that you like are in control of, or like live in different places throughout the year, or like be a complete digital nomad, or like a snowbird. You know what I mean? Just have the kind of location independence, and to make American dollars while being able to travel the world, or like live in other places too. And there can definitely be like negatives and consequences from that, because like I'll get into it a little bit and then get to like the fun stuff. I'm just kind of like laying down the foundation of this conversation and why I think it's a good topic to discuss. But places like Mexico City is a place where a lot of remote workers are moving to, because in Mexico I think you can stay there for like a really long time without getting like an actual visa, or you can easily maybe get like some kind of visa or some kind of like citizenship. That's what I hear. I'm not up to date on all the specific requirements for living and working in Mexico long term, but either way, I know it's a very common thing to move to places like Mexico City, where it's a similar time zone. So if you work remotely, or you want to be somewhere close to your family living in North America, you can go there and you can have an amazing city like at your fingertips. It's getting more expensive, but it's still cheaper than places like New York City. And you can essentially, what you can do is, like, if too many people do this, is you can gentrify those areas. You can push out local people because there's a price incentive to cater more towards foreigners. It can change the culture of certain neighborhoods because the businesses want to appeal to those kinds of people. And I think to a certain extent it's a really cool thing, but if it's becoming like gentrifying neighborhoods, kicking local people out. And I know the government is trying to do like active efforts to make sure landlords aren't like kicking out their tenants to make the place an Airbnb, or if it is being used for an Airbnb, it can only be like a certain amount of months throughout the year versus being an Airbnb like indefinitely, because you can keep on bringing people for short-term rentals, and then when they leave, bring another person in from a different country, and they can get a lot more money per night than they would actually like giving that renting that property to a local Mexican resident. So anyway, that can be a big problem if it's not like handled, or like places like lose their culture or identity because of foreign influence. And it's an interesting conversation too, because it's kind of like, it can feel like a double standard sometimes with like immigration or foreigners coming to a new place, but it's a completely different situation than some of like the immigration stuff that people are talking about today with my country and other countries, like trying to preserve their culture. Like but still, it's kind of like a nuanced conversation where in some instances it might be okay, or in some instances it might be xenophobic or downright racist. So that's my political spiel. That's kind of setting the scene for the new American dream. So whether you want to move somewhere else long term, or you want to like relocate to different parts of the world for parts of the year, if you're in a very privileged position like that, little applause for you. Pat yourself on the back, Now everyone can do that, and it's a really cool, unique opportunity. Or you just want to start your life anew, move somewhere else. Maybe you have some transferable skills. You want to go back to school, but the lifestyle or the culture doesn't completely resonate with you here. So where should you go? I can mostly speak about my own experience because I've traveled to 20 countries, by no means all of them. I think it's close to like 10% of places in the world, but compared to my fellow American, I think it's a pretty decently respectable number. I hope to increase it, of course. So I'm going to talk about places I visited that I thought, wow, this was really great. This was really amazing. Maybe it's a place that's not just fun to visit. Maybe I could spend a longer period of time here. Maybe I could slow travel here. Dare I say, maybe I could even live here. Like, that TikTok trend where it's like, should I move here? It's a real thing, And so of course I made a list of places that I would consider to live if I left the country. And some of my criteria, I'll kind of go through with you here. Nature access. So I like cities. I can appreciate cities, but I don't like live in an urban landscape. Like, I think it's really cool to have access to different neighborhoods and culture and convenience and like fun restaurants, but I would choose nature over that. Of course, if you can find that sweet spot, now we're talking. And that can be like mountain access or oceans typically. I'm a little spoiled for nature. For example, I lived in Chicago for a year, and it has amazing lake access, but the lake access is to Lake Michigan, which, if you aren't familiar with the Great Lakes in the Midwest of the United States of America, they're like small oceans. I mean, if you look at a map, not really, but if you're standing there at the shoreline, there's going to be actual waves coming in. You can't see the other side. Some of the beaches are really beautiful. So you have like miles and miles of this lake access in Chicago, and it's really nice, but I still felt a little underwhelmed with nature access. So I needed something a little bit substantial here to really kind of meet that criteria for places. Not feeling too isolated. I guess this is where like living in a small town might come into. This might be living in a place that might be a little hard to integrate or doesn't have like an expat community. So kind of a place where you can get a sense of community, get a sense of like maybe routine or just kind of like immersion. And of course, I think it's important to try and assimilate and integrate to where you are staying. Obviously, keep your own culture and beliefs and values. Don't lose your identity. But I don't think you should only look to stay somewhere that just has expats and just completely be in the expat community. If you're going to move somewhere or stay somewhere for a longer period of time, do your part to like make your adjustment to the culture better for you and the people around you. I think that's just really important, whether you're learning the language or whatever. Noah, shut up. You might not care. I'm going to get on the locations, I promise. My name's Noah. I'm talking to myself. And then personal feeling and lifestyle, because of course, I'm going to go based on my own feelings while being there. Could I see myself walking around here? Could I see myself going to the same cafe over and over again, or maybe striking up conversations with people? Or would my routine be something that would make me a happier version of myself? Whether that's like, getting coffee in the morning, maybe going out to eat like a couple times a week, going to some cool bars and maybe like meeting up with or coming across the same people, nice parks I can walk around in from time to time, or cool day trips. I guess I'll get more into that later. Or just activities you could throw in there. Maybe you go hiking, maybe go to the ocean, maybe parks and markets and stuff that would give me a nice like week by week, month by month lifestyle. I think it's really important. And then of course, day trips and things to do. That kind of goes without saying. I want to be in a place where maybe you can go to other places really easily, or if you have like a nice chunk of time, you can quickly go somewhere kind of close by and get a different experience or a different landscape or a different town, somewhere of interest. And you'll see that it's kind of self-explanatory. And then finally, infrastructure. This can be like transportation. I think having good public transportation is really cool. Or I don't know, maybe like some level of shopping centers, just some level of like urban development or convenience. It doesn't even have to be like buildings and stuff. That just makes life a bit easier, a bit less complicated in some ways. So we'll get into all that, and I'll talk about how it applies to different places. So let's jump into place number 1. Where should I start, guys? Should I go somewhere far? Somewhere far east? Yes, I am. I'm going to the country of Vietnam, which I visited in 2024. I spent... How long did I spend there? I want to say about a month. Yeah, about a month. I wish I was there longer. There's so much to see and do in Vietnam. And one place, the place that really stuck with me, and I thought, should I move here? Was Da Nang. And I think Da Nang is kind of like the new thing. It has become the new thing, at least on YouTube. I think a lot of these places that are like digital nomad spots or expat spots, remote working hotspots in Southeast Asia, they have kind of like, I don't say they've blown out of proportion, but maybe they've lost a little bit of like the, oh my God, I can't believe you can live like this at this price kind of value. Da Nang has that. So Vietnam, just in general, from my own experience, is one of the most affordable places I've ever traveled to. I'm sure there are places even more affordable, but I was eating in a place nearby a really good sized fresh made banh mi, which is like a Vietnamese like baguette sandwich with some delicious pickled vegetables and like maybe some sriracha, and in my case, because I'm vegan, some sort of like fake meat or tofu or something for 50 cents. And if I went, I mean, given that that's local food versus ethnic food in the United States, a good banh mi and like a decent place might be like 12 or 15 bucks. So we're talking like, wow, what a freaking amazing deal. So that kind of shows you cost. And what I love about Da Nang, let's look at our little criteria. Nature access, boom. The weather, well, first of all, the weather in Da Nang, at least when I was there, was perfect. We're talking like 80 degrees and such, maybe like high 70s in the morning, maybe like mid to high 80s during the peak heat, but fresh air with a nice sea breeze because it's located right on the coast, right, literally right by the ocean. It kind of, I haven't been to Miami in a long time, but it's like a smaller Asian Miami kind of feeling, where it has this big massive beach going up and down like the main downtown area of Da Nang. So I love swimming. I love the ocean. It's a beautiful ocean too. It wasn't too crazy or too crowded when I was there. You can do stuff like surf or bodyboard and just hang out. There's some like kind of beach club or beach kind of restaurants and stuff too along the way. There's like some little parks and places to work out along the little beachfront. Just my favorite. I just love beaches like that too. I love the quiet little cute pockets of paradise, I call them, that you can have all to yourself, little small tiny beaches. It's not that. It's like a urban beach, but it's a beautiful urban beach, and the activities are really great as well. And it's easy to get around the city if you are able to ride a motorbike, which I am. Riding a motorbike in Vietnam can be a little bit crazy, but I've adjusted. I was born in Southeast Asia riding motorbikes, so I learned a motorbike while learning the rules of driving there. So for me, it's like a little crazy, but I've adjusted to it. I think I would actually have more problems riding a motorbike in my country. Well, no, I drive in my country every day, so it's just a different vehicle. But anyway, so getting around is really easy. It's not too big either. So, I mean, if you can drive a motorbike. And if you can't, they have, I think it's Grab. I think that's the one, or Uber. They have ride-sharing apps in Vietnam that are really affordable as well. So getting around is not that difficult, although I do like having the freedom to go where I want, as I want. And then there is an expat scene, of course, is becoming the next big thing. So they have nice cafes. They have some international restaurants as well, but delicious Vietnamese food. I do need to say that the international food in some places could use a little bit of work. Let's just say that Mexican food in Asia is always going to be a little bit of a gamble, understandably so. But yeah, they have good like American food still, or maybe just European stuff, or Pan-Asian food, or whatever may have you. You can find around the area. So if you want some diversity to your culinary experiences, you can certainly get it in Da Nang. And there's markets there. They have a really cool dragon bridge, which has like a light show at night. It's kind of like, I would say gimmicky, but it's probably like a see it once and you're good kind of experience. And the accommodations are very affordable as well. For the most part, you can get like nice studio apartments or apartments with like oceans on your roof, or not oceans. I freaking wish, with like rooftop pools. That's the term I'm looking for. So that's really cool. Anyway, paint the picture a little bit for you, hopefully. And what I love, my favorite thing about Vietnam or Da Nang that makes you want to go back, is you have the beautiful ocean and coast. But if you just continue up the coastline, just a little bit away from that main beach, you have an area called the Son Tra Peninsula. And this is like my favorite thing about Southeast Asia is cruising around these beautiful little adventure spots on a motorbike, because what you can do is you can cruise around. There's a really beautiful statue that's part of this like temple complex, which you can see from the main area of Da Nang, which you can go and check out, which is a cool cultural experience, cool thing to do. I think I could revisit too and enjoy it. And then from there you can keep on exploring and go around this peninsula where you can see some beautiful hidden little beaches, some winding roads. You can see these cool monkeys that I haven't seen in any other parts of the world, where they have these like, I think like white tails and black butts. I'm don't know how else to describe them. Maybe silver head or something too. And they're really fun to watch as well. And unfortunately, the peninsula, a lot of it was closed. So I couldn't fully explore and cruise around and find these nice little viewpoints or beaches or little pockets of adventure and fun. But once it opens fully, I definitely want to go back and adventure more around it. And it's literally like a 15-20 minute drive from downtown Da Nang. So how cool is that? You get some adventure just right outside of the city, which the city has a lot of cool things going on, but it's not such a massive city that the traffic and getting around it will like literally make you paralyzed and not want to do that. So that's cool. And there are actual day trips too. You have Hoi An, which is a famous tourist attraction, a famous tourist town, which is like about an hour to the south, and it's beautiful. It's a UNESCO World Heritage Site, with the architecture being like a beautiful blend of like French and Japanese because of like its unique history and foreign influences, or like being ruled over temporarily by these places. The architecture is just beautiful. It definitely gets busy, and it might be a little overwhelming. You might not find that like tranquility that you might find in other areas. They also have really good cooking classes there, beautiful rice terraces down in Hoi An, and it's just visually, it's just an unbelievably beautiful place. And I stayed there for about 2 days, and I would love to go back like once a month and just stay maybe a night, or like go down there for the day and then come back up. So that's really cool. And it also has, I think it's called Ban Na Hills, which is another famous tourist attraction in Vietnam. I think it's like an hour and a half away, and it's an amusement park. I did not visit it, and it has that famous kind of like little ring that goes around the mountain with these like hands holding it that people like to get pictures on. So that's a cool notable site as well. And it has a major airport in Da Nang, so you can fly to other parts of the country really well. So the infrastructure is great, the nature, the lifestyle would be great too, you know, between like going to the beach and doing some work, or going to a cafe, or going maybe a little bit like more adventuring into the Songtra Peninsula, day trip. So anyway, Da Nang, I love it, guys. I definitely think I could live there, especially if you find like a good community there, and just your activities and daily stuff would be really fun and cool. So that's Da Nang. Now I'm going to where do I want to go next, guys? I have it all right here. Let's go to Hong Kong. Now, earlier I said something about like big cities might not be like my ultimate end goal, but Asian cities, I'm just a sucker for them, guys, because like for infrastructure, besides places that I would imagine like maybe some massive like cities in the Arab world, like, you know, Dubai, or maybe like Doha, I think is that Doha? Yeah, Doha in Qatar. I don't know about their subway. I know they're really built up and like super high end of the line when it comes to like city infrastructure. But Hong Kong is just incredible. I don't even know where to begin. So, well, I do. So it's incredibly dense with skyscrapers. So like visually, architecture wise, I've never seen a place like it. Maybe some other places in China are different, but Hong Kong, it has this like ultra new feeling, and also this kind of more old, historic, kind of like maybe like old Chinese feel based on what you might have seen in movies and stuff. And sadly, that's kind of going away a little bit, I hear, with like lots of the neon signs in some of the busy areas are being replaced because they're being old and they're being taken down. And it's such a shame, because I love that like, not grit, but like kind of like old character feel that some Asian cities get. And like the new stuff's cool too, but I think the old stuff is so like, it just feels authentic and really beautiful. So anyway, I think Hong Kong is like the highest density of skyscrapers in like any place in the world. So it's very dense. Finding a place to live might be a little tricky. You're going to pay a lot for your square footage, which I live in a 1-bedroom apartment right now. Obviously, the place in Hong Kong would be smaller, but I wouldn't mind that much if I'm out and about and like enjoying my life and doing stuff. But if having a big, spacious place is for you, maybe Da Nang is going to be a better choice for getting your money's worth. But So city-wise, it has really good metro. It's really effective or efficient, and very. I think it's cost-friendly as well. They also have like a bus system, which is really good, and so getting around is really easy. It's an incredibly beautiful city. Lots of great shopping malls, lots of museums, lots of great things to do, viewpoints, markets. The whole 9 yards is great. And you have different islands as well, which I'm going to talk about here in a second. Because what makes Hong Kong, for me, truly a place I consider visiting is the nature access. Which is kind of like, huh? It's like, okay, like, yeah, Hong Kong's a big city. Yeah, it's by the water, but so what? But no. I think out of like all the cities I visited, I think it has the best nature. For like being a truly world-class city. I'm not talking about like a small city in the mountains or near the mountains or something. No, like being a massive world-class metropolis. First of all, people forget Hong Kong is like built in a kind of like subtropical/tropical area, and the landscape is naturally like jungle. So once you are like, it's so cool because you have this, the massive, dense urban areas with skyscrapers, but like half a mile away, not even half a mile, like just like 5 minutes driving or less. Well, whatever. Really close by. I'm thinking you can drive more than a half mile in 5 minutes. But anyway, you have just beautiful jungle and you can hike through it. You can see animals still. You can see like monkeys and a wild boar, which we actually did see. And it was a little bit terrifying because it was at night. And you can hike through this incredibly green, lush like landscape in the mountains, because like it's kind of like a little at the bottom of the mountain right before the coast Hong Kong's built, so you can get great views of the city, which is beautiful. Some of the like the most beautiful architecture. You could see the water and like the coast right nearby you. You could see other islands in the distance as well, because Hong Kong, it's several islands actually. Like people think of Hong Kong typically as like two areas. One is the part of like, or connected to the mainland China, of course. And then just across the water is Hong Kong Island. But even like over the mountains of Hong Kong Island, you're going to have beautiful little fishing villages. Super remote, or not super remote, but remote and cute. And a completely different vibe. Such as like Shek O Shek, I think is the name of the one I visited. And Tai O is another one as well, which is on a different island. I think it's Lantau Island. That's like the one that has, I believe Disneyland. And you could take like a cable car up into the mountains and visit like a Buddhist monastery and like a beautiful Buddhist temple, and then kind of go around and explore. So you have some of the best island nature access out of anywhere like I visited in like East Asia, I would say, because like Hong Kong is kind of like in the mix between like East and Southeast Asia, because it's like South China, South China area. So you can hike incredibly easily and get, like go into the mountains, get amazing sunset views on many different islands. It's just unbelievably beautiful with like urban sites as well. The food is really good, Cantonese food. They have great dim sum. It's going to be a little bit more pricey. And it also has kind of like, what's the word? Slightly Western influence, because like the British, of course. So people there speak a bit more English. Things are written in English more often, and getting around is definitely easier. And maybe you could potentially integrate into that society if you're from the West like me. I realize I shouldn't just make this a whole love letter to Hong Kong, so I'll like continue on with the picture. So I think like the lifestyle of being able to hike and go to different islands as little day trips, like different like summer places. You could just like rent a bike and cruise around the island and visit new shops and cafes and cool little like temples, or it has so much variety for being like a big city. It's really like a nature lover's paradise if you want city too. So that, to me, that's very attractive. So, and then of course, infrastructure we talked about. So that's kind of a little bit of my love letter to Hong Kong. It's a really beautiful, amazing, unique place that I would definitely consider living in, especially if I had to live in a big city. I think it'd be like my top choice, to be honest. Next is, you're going to see a trend here. It's not a big city. This is actually a place that, it's not a hidden gem, but you probably haven't heard of it either. It's Kamakura. Now, Kamakura is a very very popular day trip from Tokyo. Everyone knows Tokyo, Japan. Kamakura is in Japan, of course, duh. And it used to be the old capital. Like Japan had many ancient capitals. The one people famously know is Kyoto, because tons of tourists go there. But it's Tokyo or Kyoto is about like 2 or 3 hours from Tokyo on the bullet train, so it's pretty far, and you have to pay a lot of money. People don't realize that the bullet train, it can often be like $100, maybe $80 now with the yen, the Japanese yen being weaker, one way. So it's kind of a lot of money. It's kind of like a decently priced flight to go there and back. It's 100, $200 maybe. So what people commonly do if they want that like old slice or the slice of a fresh slice of traditional Japan is they go to Kamakura and not Kyoto, because Kamakura, it's very similar, but it's a coastal town. And if you can't tell, I love the coast. I love the ocean. I love the beach. Even if it's not like the perfect place for swimming, like an amazing tropical beach, I just love that vibe. I love seaside, the feel of like a seaside village or city or town. It just feels very freeing to me. And like when the sun hits and you can watch the sunset, and it just does something to me, something profound, and it kind of calms my soul in a way. Which, do I believe in souls? Not really, but hopefully you get the idea. So that's what Kamakura is like. So we could talk about, the nature, of course, has the coast right there, and it also has some like rolling hills. I wouldn't call them mountains, but you can do some hiking. You can go into the forest and get some nice views of the town of Kamakura and like the sea as well. There's beaches you can visit, and what Japan does perfectly, I think it's like makes it kind of hard to travel to other places that aren't like unbelievably beautiful nature, is they create this completely like unique atmosphere with the cultural, architectural aid of things like temples or shrines, because it gives these like places that maybe it's not like the best hike of your life, maybe it's not the best view of your life, maybe it's not the prettiest lake or ocean, but when they combine it with like Japanese architecture or some of like the shrines or temples, it makes it feel this little pocket of like sacred land, I guess I can call it, or like a spiritual kind of like place and space that gives it like a charm and an atmosphere. So in Kamakura, that happens to me for sure, with like the shrines and the temples all throughout like the nature and stuff, which gives it like a whole different like adventure and like charming feel. Because the nature is beautiful, but like I'm not gonna lie, the hikes aren't going to be anything like Hong Kong, or the beaches aren't going to be as pretty as Da Nang, but still, like naturally, it's very beautiful and very charming, and really pulls you in, and gives me a sense of awe in that way. Not feeling too isolated. This one might be a little bit tricky because I don't know how many expats actually live in Kamakura, because it's a place mostly for tourists, but I think it's possible. And Tokyo, it's only like an hour away, which makes it a popular day trip. So you're not too far away from like a major city, so maybe you can meet some people from Tokyo, or that will come to your area and you can hang out, or you can kind of like build a life in both places, kind of in a little bit of the way. And Tokyo would be like the ultimate day trip. You can go to the city, but I think living in the city is fun. But city like Tokyo, which is so massive and it has some nature access with parks and stuff, but I just think Kamakura for me would give me a little bit more space to breathe, a little bit more freshness from nature, and still have good infrastructure, because they have a cute little train called the Enoden. It's like an electric train that goes up and down the coast and takes you to all these different spots that are like of interest, or cute little villages, or seaside cafes, or temples, or shrines, or whatever may have you. So I think I could have a really good lifestyle there. I think if you ever got bored, you go to Tokyo, but also there would be lots of stuff to do around the area. And it also has a really beautiful place nearby called Enoshima, which is a little island that you can walk to. It's connected to the mainland, and it's just magical. It has beautiful nature, again, temples, shrines, views, little towns, and street food. And at night, it just feels like with the lights being lit up and the little shrine gates, it's just I just love it. It's like so amazing. And I hope Vanessa and I can live in Japan for some period of time, or do a really longer stay and kind of like have more, because every time we've been to Japan, it's been for like a week or two, which is still amazing, but it's like that tail end of like Southeast Asia trip, where we can really spend the bulk of our time in these Southeast Asian countries, because the cost of living, it makes sense economically to do so. And I studied abroad in Japan too, so I just have a really big soft spot for it. So would it be on your list? Maybe not, especially too. A lot of people there might speak some English because of tourism, but learning the local language would be very helpful, which I speak some Japanese, so that would help me. But if you want a place kind of nearby, I think it's pretty close. Taipei. Now, Taipei is kind of, I don't know how to call it. It's like the yellow starburst of the pack as far as Asian countries. Not that people hate on it. It just kind of gets like a little bit forgotten. Do people hate yellow starburst? I don't know. There has to be a good analogy I can make here. But anyway, it's like I think it just gets a lot less attention, especially now. Like, I guess I should. Well, I'm gonna make a distinction. Screw it. I don't care. I'm not paid for to say what I think. Anyway, I guess I kind of am, but not bought and paid for by like a country or a political party. So anyway, actual China, I think, is getting a lot more attention and a lot more tourism because it's kind of like been this little bit of a boogeyman for the West, and people are kind of like more skeptical about like things that they've heard from like media or like authority figures or news. So there's been this fascination with like, look how advanced China is, and like it's a really beautiful place from what I see. I would love to go to China, especially because a lot of my students, what's the word? I teach students who live in China, so I can meet up with them. And how cool would that be to have that unique like experience, meeting people I know that I've taught like across or on computer for years potentially. So I think like China is getting a lot of tourism now. Japan has always gotten a ton of tourism and is still continuing to do so. South Korea gets a little bit less, but still gets a lot of tourism, especially with the popularity of like K-dramas or like K-pop and stuff. Thailand, of course, will always get a lot of tourism because it's of the beautiful beaches and the price. So when I think about places in Asia, obviously there's other countries like Central Asia, where it's a completely different story. I guess I should really just focus on East Asia. But Taiwan, I think it just gets less like international tourism, or like, well, duh, but less tourism, I think, from like the West. Maybe some people in other Asian countries would go there. But so Taipei is the biggest city in Taiwan. Of course, it's the capital. You fly into there, and it's kind of like a little bit of different Asian cities put together from my own experience. I'm sure if you go to like major Chinese cities, you could draw lots of comparisons, but it gives me kind of like a quirky feeling that like Tokyo does in some ways, maybe with like they like using anime for their marketing. They have these cute little mascots, and it's kind of very cutesy, like Japanese culture. And it's a little bit Korean influenced as well too, with just like the feeling of certain neighborhoods, I think. So I think the cost of living in Taipei is definitely cheaper than some other major cities, like maybe Seoul or maybe Tokyo or maybe Osaka, or maybe just some major like Asian megacities. So I think that makes it kind of appealing. And then it does have actually really good nature access, because similar to Hong Kong, it's like a subtropical island. So even though Taipei, it's not like a coastal city by any means, but you have great like jungle mountain hiking again. Like there's a really famous hike called Elephant Mountain, and it's like from one of the major neighborhoods in the city, and you're just going through this beautiful green lush scenery, and then you get an amazing sunset view. And architecture, I think, in Taipei is really underrated. Taipei 101, I think, is my favorite skyscraper in the world. I think it's so beautiful, and it just feels iconic. It's kind of like shaped, and it was like the tallest building in the world for a long time. And they have some cool architecture to keep it like, earthquake resistant, because that can be a problem in this part of the world. And it's like shaped like a giant, stalk pole of bamboo. So it's just beautiful. It's just really cool, and it feels like an iconic skyscraper, the same way that maybe the Empire State Building is in New York, or the Burj Khalifa might be in Dubai. It just has a really cool feel. So the nature access is great, and has good urban views and good nature access as well. And you can do more hiking. There's like a bunch of different like animal names for the trail. This one's Elephant Mountain. I think there's like a Lion Mountain or something too. So great nature access. The parks in Taipei, I think, are really beautiful as well. And you have great day trips, which I covered in my last two. Just making sure I didn't forget any good criteria. But you can go to places such as, number one, Jufun, which is the famous like Spirited Away village. It has the beautiful red lanterns up and down the streets. And Jufun's a little bit more close to the coast, so you get nice water views there. It's cool to visit as a tourist, but I could definitely go back. It has some hiking as well too, which is really cool. It's a really unique place. You have Shufun, which is another town as well. And then just the transportation infrastructure in Taipei, I think, is extremely underrated, because they have like a really good metro good bus as well. It's like really convenient. And you can also take Uber, and it's pretty cost effective as well if you don't want to deal with like the metro for some reason, or you want to get from like point A to point B. Maybe it's getting to your hotel and you have some luggage with you. And you can get around the island really easily. We took a 2-hour like fast train from Taipei to a town called Hualien, and it was really affordable as well. Not anything like the Shinkansen. And you can just quickly get to beautiful beaches, completely different like mountains with like massive cliffs and this beautiful gorge, the Taroko Gorge, I think it's called. I think it's the I'm really testing myself here. I should have wrote it down. I think it's like Qinghai or something, Qingming cliffs, which are these beautiful dramatic cliffs by the ocean. It's just, I really like Taiwan. My wife, she had mixed views. Maybe if we do a podcast about it sometime, she can give you maybe more of her experience. Because it didn't completely line up with mine, but that's okay. Like, it doesn't have to. But I guess this is places where I would live, you know. Obviously, we would both want to live in or have to agree on a place, so that would be something I would consider as well. But I really enjoyed it. I thought also the city had different neighborhoods, really good street food, really good night markets. I think the entertainment was pretty good, cool things to do, and they also have like a hot springs neighborhood, which is like Japanese influenced, so you can just kind of like as a quick little getaway or like relaxation, you can go to this neighborhood, Beito is the name of it, in Taipei, and just like have a little hot spring stay and get a hot spring hotel and just relax and chill out. So I think Taipei is super freaking cool, definitely underrated, and I would love to go back someday. Truly would. So anyway, that's Taipei. Now, we've done pretty much exclusively East Asia, a little Southeast Asia. Let's throw a little bit more in there. Koh Samui. Now, Koh Samui is in Thailand, and I don't know if it would necessarily still apply today because I think Koh Samui is getting busier and busier. I think the famous island people visit primarily is Phuket. I think Phuket is I think it's too far gone to be a place to live, from what I hear, especially in some of the main touristy areas. It's just overcrowded. Definitely like over touristed as well, and the prices have gotten ridiculous as a result of that. Koh Samui, I think if you stay in certain parts of the island, it can be amazing. I think there is an area called Choeng Beach, which is more east or northeast, and I didn't really stay there. I stayed in the north, kind of near Fisherman's Village, and I loved it. Boput, I think is the name of it. Absolutely beautiful, so quaint. The town is a little small, but there's some good restaurants there as well. And Koh Samui, it has, again, it's Thailand, so beautiful beaches. And then more inland, you have beautiful green, lush scenery, which I'm a sucker for. And so actually, which is pretty unique for Southeast Asia, is some good walking areas. I feel like Southeast Asia can be beautiful, but usually the infrastructure for like parks or like walking around, it's like non-existent. It's like everyone just rides scooters around, and even sidewalks, it's kind of really hard to walk around. You feel like you're always going to be looking in front of you or down at your feet so you don't trip on the sidewalk, or so scooters like are pulling out and coming in don't freaking hit you. It's definitely designed more for scooters than anything else. But I think Koh Samui has some good walking areas and walking trails, and it is so much fun to cruise around on a scooter. There's great sunset spots as well. And if you can ride a scooter, you can go like into the mountains a little bit where you get some nice views and you can kind of escape maybe some of the traffic on more of the main beach towns. But there's great things to do there as well. They have a beautiful Buddha statue, which is on its own like little separate peninsula, which it's touristy, but you can still check it out as well. And it also has an elephant sanctuary, so you can see wildlife, and there's still hikes to do that are more inland as well. And lots of beaches that are far away from a lot of tourists. So I think that, the nature access, not feeling too isolated as well. Like I said, I think that might be changing too far the other way, potentially, especially with a new season of White Lotus coming out that was based in Koh Samui, that people are predicting that might increase maybe some tourism or maybe more expats coming there. So I think right now there's a lot. It's already a pretty expat friendly spot, but I had a little like studio Airbnb for the 3 days I was there. I definitely felt like I could have stayed longer. It had like a gym, it had a pool. I feel like I could have had a really good lifestyle of exploring a little bit around the island, maybe going to the beach, coming back and getting some work done, or getting some work done before you go, or maybe get coffee and get a little bit of work done there, and then come back and swim and then work out. And at night you can go to like a night market. Maybe you can go out into like one of the more busy areas and have a little bit of fun, maybe meet some people, not party, but kind of go out a little bit and have like that nightlife kind of feeling. So I think you could easily have a great lifestyle balance there, all those things included. And things to do, I don't think you'd really run out that much. And if you did, you have Koh Phangan, which is an island that's like an hour away on boat, which is more remote. It has the full moon party, but I wouldn't go for that. I'd go there to explore some more of the island, and it has some kind of more like hippie kind of areas in Koh Phangan, and some really beautiful beaches that are more like boho and really chilled out vibes in the north. So that would be a great day trip. You also have Koh Tao, which is an island where you can learn how to scuba dive, which I don't know how to do. So maybe you can go scuba diving there or get your license so that you can scuba dive anywhere you go in the world. And Koh Samui, it has an international airport, so you could easily fly to Bangkok. And I'm sure you could find pretty affordable flights to Bangkok and stay there for a couple days, a really massive city, or maybe fly to some other places. But that would be the main things I'd be interested in doing. Is more of like smaller day trips or short flights to get a completely different feel than you would in Koh Samui. So that's where I think Koh Samui would be an amazing place to maybe live America for. And my final place I really want to talk about is you're going to notice a trend here. Busan, South Korea. And shame on me for only writing down places in Asia. I kind of feel really guilty, but I think it's just the infrastructure. And I don't know, maybe it's like the exotic feeling you kind of get there too, but like with still having safety. I think safety is really important as well. And all these places felt super safe that I visited, not that I'm like walking around with pepper spray per se, but it's nice to kind of just completely let your guard down. But anyway, let's talk about Busan, guys. So Busan is the second biggest city in South Korea. And guess what, guys? It's located on the ocean, or by the coast as well, by the ocean. So that's a massive plus for me. Now, we went to Busan, and I think we stayed maybe 9 days, and that's like by no means a short period of time, but it's also not like a super, super long period of time. But we were doing a lot of stuff every day, from my memory, and I definitely felt like there was a lot more to see and do. I definitely felt like I didn't get my complete fix, so I guess that feeling was really good. I love leaving a place and having a feeling that, well, I say I love it, but it actually kind of keeps me up at night, especially if I feel like I'll never visit it again. But I had a feeling that I could have done a lot more there, because what's amazing about Busan is it's a massive city. Not quite as big as Seoul, not quite as vast as Seoul, but it still takes like a long time to get around. If you take like metro and buses to get around from place to place, just like some major neighborhoods or tourist sites, it could take you like 40 minutes to an hour at times. So it's definitely a mega city. So it has things that like you'd want in a Korean city. It has really good shopping, has really good like food. I had a decent experience with the markets. I think I might maybe need to dive a little bit deeper and see if it compares to Seoul, because Seoul had great food markets. And then it has like great underground shopping underneath the train stations as well. Great skincare, great like fashion, really great nightlife. We stayed in an area called Samyeon, and we had a really good time going out. I'm not gonna lie. Good karaoke, fun little bar hopping, and lots of people up like piling out in the streets. You could go clubbing too if you wanted, but as a married man, that's not always my vibe unless I just want to dance and like really go for it, So I think it's really cool. But there's just so much to say about Busan and why I love it. Also, Korean cafes are just some of my favorite. I think they do such a good job capturing the vibe, and there's one we went to which had really good drinks and like really comfortable seating area, and really quiet too, and really good baked goods. And normally that can be kind of hit or miss in Asian countries, finding good baked goods. If you want like the Western kind of stuff, of course. Like obviously if you have Asian baked goods, that's a different story. Those are delicious. But they had really good like muffins and cupcakes and cookies and pastries and stuff. So that was really freaking fun and really delicious. So it really comes through for you in that way. And of course, infrastructure, it's a big East Asian city, so that's kind of always going to be assumed to be good at this point, as far as I'm concerned with my travels. So I will say, I think Seoul's infrastructure is a little bit better. Maybe it's the layout of the city and getting around can be more efficient at times. But the buses and trains, they work really well, can get you to most places very easily, and at a really good price as well. And they also, for things to do, they also have these beautiful like cultural villages, they call them, which I don't know exactly what that means. To me, they're just beautiful little like neighborhoods and places, usually with lots of colorful buildings and tight little alleys for you to walk around and explore and to kind of get lost in. They're definitely touristy. I'm sure they're aiming like for domestic and foreign tourists to go here. So maybe as a local or someone staying there long term, you wouldn't want to spend as much time there anymore. But I think they're really beautiful, and there's fun little cafes and shops for you to check out and places to get some knickknacks or little souvenirs and stuff, and just cute little design things anyway. So I think that's really cool. One's coastal and it kind of has like a Greek island feel. The other one's like somewhat coastal, but a little bit more inland, and it has like lots of colorful buildings that are incredibly beautiful. And because it's coastal, what Busan does really well is it has lots of nice coastal walks and trails. Some are more built up, some are more like nature hiking trails. I didn't get to do all of them, but the ones I did get to do were really beautiful. It takes you away from the crowds definitely a bit, and you can really appreciate like the coastal views and the ocean. You can see parts of Busan from like near the water, and it has like little islands you can visit as well, taking like a cable car, or you could take these little like capsule romantic slow train cars up and down the coast, and has really beautiful coastal Buddhist temple as well. Please don't take a shot for every time I say coast to this podcast, otherwise you might need to go to the hospital. But anyway, you get the point. It's a gorgeous coastal city. Down another one. And has cool cultural things, cool food as well, with the markets and fun neighborhoods to check out, good nightlife, great shopping. I think it'd be a good place to where you can escape the city, but also still get everything a city wants to offer you. And I know there's like, as far as day trips, I think there's like more hikes you can kind of do a little bit further in the mountains as well. So I don't know if there's any major towns or cities nearby Busan. You could fly to Jeju, which wouldn't be that far. Or you could, here you go. Here's a great day trip, guys. Well, maybe not day trip, but maybe a weekend trip. Is you can take a boat actually from Busan to Fukuoka, which is on the island of Kyushu in Japan. And it's like a 3-hour boat ride, which it's a little long, but it's kind of cool if you can take a boat from Korea to Japan or South Korea to Japan just like that. So I think all those things makes Busan, to me, an extremely attractive city to live in. I think also, there's also a decent amount of expats in Busan. Maybe not as many as Seoul, because Seoul's like the main city. So there might be more like expats or people working there teaching English or something. But I think meeting people in Busan wouldn't be that difficult. Maybe learning Korean would be really helpful, but I don't think it would be like impossible. I don't think you'd feel like too isolated. So that is, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 places that I've traveled to and I could live in that are outside of America. But I have to be completely honest. If there's one place I could live in that's outside of America, it would be outside of the 48 continental, is what they're called, continental states, but it's still in the USA. So you might not totally escape things, or you might not totally live in a different country, but it certainly feels like a different country at times. Because the ultimate place I could live in would be Oahu, Hawaii. It just has everything. It has the most beautiful mountains I've seen in my life, some of the most beautiful beaches. You can easily drive around the island with lots of different towns or great beaches or great hikes or great cafes. The food is very like internationally or Asian influenced. So you can eat great Thai food, great Japanese food, great Korean food, great Vietnamese food. They have really fun markets that maybe, they're a little bit more pricey, but they're so much fun and have great food vendors. And there's good shopping in like Waikiki, and you can kind of get like more of an urban sprawl, although it's not massive. Just to like walk around, and it's definitely touristy, but it's still like it has like a kind of like a city feel in a way. And then you can just easily escape to nature so easily on Oahu, and you're still part of the USA, so you don't need to like worry about completely like changing everything in your life. Or everyone there obviously speaks English, and people there might be a lot of tourists, but there might be people that live there because they want to connect with the Hawaiian feeling and spirit, which to me that's so attractive. Because I'm not Hawaiian, and I don't want to do like modern day colonization or like gentrify areas or push people out. I would stay in like Waikiki, an area that's already like completely touristed, and then just try and like assimilate as much as I can, try like take pleasure in like appreciating Hawaiian culture. And like obviously I would want to go to the beaches and swim, but I wouldn't like ruin them. I would still like try and show them respect and hike, but like pick up after myself. Don't like ruin these beautiful areas, and to really appreciate like the beauty. of the nature and feeling and lifestyle of Hawaii, and meet people who also maybe want to go hiking on the weekends, or want to go swimming and snorkeling, or maybe you kayak to this beautiful island just off the coast of Oahu, like what are they called? They're escaping me right now. One is Chinaman's Hat, which maybe that name's a little like not politically accepted or politically correct, but just Oahu is just, it's magic. I'm sure the other Hawaiian islands are even more magical in some ways, but I think Oahu would be a good place to not feel too isolated, but still have like everything you could want as far as like activities and lifestyle, just completely maxed out. Obviously, it's going to be a little bit expensive. The infrastructure in Oahu is the best out of the Hawaiian Islands, but it's not anything like the places we've talked about before. Unless you like have a scooter or a car, then it's a different story. The bus, it's good to get around the island, but it's definitely not cheap or affordable, and it's definitely not time effective. I think some places you could drive 30 minutes, might take you like almost 2 hours on the bus, depending on like connections and stops and stuff. So keep that in mind. But Oahu, I hope to live there someday. I really do. So those are the places I've traveled to that I could live in. There's some places that I thought might make the list, but they didn't. And yeah, I'll do a separate episode on that because my voice is getting really dry. I'm really thirsty, and you probably heard me yap enough for this episode. So what do you think? Are you interested in living in any of these places? Have you traveled to? What are your own places? I'd love to hear from you, so comment on my YouTube videos or something like that. And I just love talking about this stuff because in this current situation or world climate or system we're in, or culture we're in, I should say, it definitely makes it more appealing to want to, although I have my family here and lots of familiarity and there's lots of stuff I love about the USA, like conceptually or in practice, or some things that still exist today, I don't feel the need to like be here more than 50% of my life. So that's all, everybody. Thanks for listening, and let's all move somewhere fun together. Peace.